Chapter 44. Pressure. Facing the full force of the second Dao Emperor level mid-grade spirit beast, Xiaoyan naturally didn't dare to be careless. His eyes stared at the black light that was getting closer and closer. Both of his fingers quickly changed, and he used a dazzling technique to launch some kind of attack. Boom! The black light instantly shot in front of Xiaoyan. The wild and violent energy contained on it caused Xiaoyan's scalp to feel numb. He let out a furious roar and pushed his hands forward as fast as lightning. A sea of fire that was dozens of feet in size instantly surged out, blocking the black light. The black light was blocked by the sea of fire. The little black sparrow let out a shrill cry and flapped its wings rapidly. In an instant, the black light once again shone brightly. With an extremely sharp momentum, it broke through the obstruction of the sea of fire and shot towards Xiaoyan's chest. As expected, the moment the sea of fire was broken through, Xiaoyan's facial expression remained unchanged. He clenched his right fist and punched out. A huge golden fist with a few golden lines collided with the black light. The huge fist and the black light were in a deadlock in midair. No one could do anything to each other for a long time. Feeling the pain coming from his right arm, Xiaoyan gritted his teeth. The remaining origin monarch ki in his body flowed along a strange meridian and flowed into the huge golden fist along his right arm. Waves of chaos great monarch flames that carried origin monarch ki were injected into the huge golden fist. The light on the huge fist suddenly became brighter and brighter, quickly suppressing the black light. It was crazily devouring the energy of the black light in an increasingly powerful manner. The little black sparrow's expression immediately became somewhat panicked. Its pair of long and narrow eyes stared fixedly at the continuously retreating black light. It flapped its wings, and the light on its wings circulated. It was about to take action. Xiaoyan, who had the upper hand, also divided his attention to observe the little black sparrow. When he saw the latter's appearance, a trace of vigilance immediately surged into his heart. He spread out his heavenly phoenix wings, planning to dodge the moment the latter made a move. Suddenly, Xiaoyan felt a chill on his back. Out of instinct, Xiaoyan leapt upwards. At the same time, a pitch-black tail cut through the void, causing ripples to appear on the spot where Xiaoyan was standing just now. Before Xiaoyan could rejoice, he saw a vast white scene in front of him. At the same time, a fragrance was emitted. When he smelled this fragrance, Xiaoyan's head instantly became dizzy and his reaction slowed down. 3 snow-white fox tails swept over and wrapped around Xiaoyan, causing him to fall heavily onto the ground. The black scorpion and the 3-tailed fox's cooperation was very tacit. They attacked almost at the same time, and Xiaoyan, who was caught off guard, was instantly surrounded. The moment Xiaoyan was hit by the fox's tail, the little black sparrow also let out a long cry. Its body rushed towards Xiaoyan like a bolt of lightning. Its 2 wings were like blades as it mercilessly slashed at Xiaoyan's neck. In the distance, Yi Tianqian saw this scene. His heart couldn't help but tremble slightly. His body slightly bent, and a vast soul force surged out from between his brows, forming a faint dark cloud. Just as the little black sparrow's feather blade was about to slash at Xiaoyan, the 3-tailed fox suddenly let out a hiss. Then, 3 snow-white fox tails suddenly burst open. The snow-white fox's fur fluttered in the air, and drops of blood flowed down from the fox's tails. At the same time, a human figure rushed up from the ground, dodging the fatal blow of the little black sparrow in the nick of time. Kai! Xiaoyan couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. He looked at his lower abdomen, and the feather blade drew a bloody mark on his lower abdomen. His skin and flesh rolled over. After stabilizing himself in the air, Xiaoyan looked at the small black sparrow, the black scorpion, and the heavily injured 3-tailed fox. A trace of heaviness appeared in his eyes. At this moment, the black scorpion had opened its transparent wings and was flying in the air. Its tail, which was flashing with cold light, was raised high up like a poisonous snake waiting to launch a fatal attack. Xiaoyan took out a few herbs from his storage ring and kneaded them into dregs. He smeared the medicine on the wound. The intense pain caused Xiaoyan's teeth to crack. He let out a breath and tore off his tattered black shirt, revealing his thin and weak body. Now, I'll have a good time with you guys. Xiaoyan relaxed his body. The sound of bones cracking could be heard. After that, both of his arms were wrapped in flames. With a flap of his heavenly phoenix wings, Xiaoyan rushed towards the black scorpion. A ray of light flashed in the black scorpion's green eyes. Its thin wings buzzed. The scorpion tail extended like a spring and shot towards Xiaoyan. Along the way, the sound of wind breaking could be heard. Strands of green gas appeared, indicating that the scorpion tail contained a strong poison. Xiaoyan did not dodge the scorpion tail that was rushing towards him. He stretched out his arms, and the raging flames were like dancing pythons, swimming towards the scorpion tail. When the green gas came into contact with the flames, it made a hissing sound, and then disappeared under the high temperature of the flames. The scorpion tail and the flames collided violently. Even though Xiaoyan's body had been refined countless times by the Chaos Great Monarch flame, he still felt a heart-piercing pain when he collided with the iron-like scorpion tail. After a moment of deadlock, Xiaoyan was sent flying backwards with a pale face. The black scorpion had also suffered a serious injury. Its tail was broken inch by inch. A wisp of flame fell on the wings of the black scorpion, which were like thin film. The black scorpion cried out in pain. The wings were quickly burned to ashes. Xiaoyan fell heavily to the ground and felt his head buzzing. Before he could recover his senses, a sharp bird cry sounded by his ears. Then, a strong gust of wind swept over. Not good. As soon as Xiaoyan thought of this, he felt a cold breath coming from his chest. Just as Xiaoyan watched the sharp claws fall into his chest, a flame suddenly ignited on his chest, protecting his chest. The claws pierced into the flame fiercely, and the flame started burning crazily. In the next moment, with a miserable cry, the little black sparrow quickly retracted its claws, which had almost been roasted, and flew into the air in a sorry state. Xiaoyan let out a soft cry that was still lingering in his heart, then he turned around and stood up. The pain that came from all over his body caused him to frown slightly. He looked at the 3 middle-grade spirit beasts that were injured. Xiaoyan's brows furrowed even more. These 3 fellows. Their cooperation could be said to be flawless. As long as they were in a stalemate with one of them. The other 2 would launch a fatal strike at the most opportune moment, hoping to break each of them one by one. It would be very difficult. Just as Xiaoyan was deep in thought, the black scorpion that had its tail shattered suddenly buzzed. Immediately after, an extremely oppressive aura swept out from its body. It was like a giant black dragon scorpion that had broken through the blue sky. It let out a heaven-shaking roar and charged at Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan's expression changed when he sensed this key. He mumbled, "Intimidating key." Yi Tianqian had already arrived in the sky not far away. He sensed everything that was happening here. When the black scorpion unleashed its aura, Yi Tianqian chuckled. He mumbled to himself, "This poison dragon king scorpion is a variant of the thin bloodline of the ancient dragon clan. This intimidating key is one of their trump cards. It will be beneficial to you if you try this. It's the intimidating aura." Xiaoyan couldn't help but sneer. With the deterrent force, the original form of this black scorpion might be a powerful heavenly beast or even a holy beast. However, with the deterrent force emitted by this tiny spirit beast, Xiaoyan wouldn't put it in his eyes. "Let me show you what a truly frightening aura is." He let out a loud laugh. Xiaoyan's ki suddenly changed. A mighty and fierce aura rushed out from his body into the sky. In an instant, it covered half of the sky. The vast aura was like an ancient fire dragon looking down at the sky and roaring towards the sky. It was like an ancient black sparrow that blotted out the sun and moon, or it looked down upon all living beings. An imperial emperor that ruled the world raised his hand and the stars were extinguished. The sky shattered. As soon as his aura was unleashed, it caused the heavens and earth in this area to tremble, and a buzzing sound to ring out. It caused a wild gale to rise up in the sky, and all living things to fall silent. The black scorpion that bore the brunt of the attack only let out a whimper, and the enormous black dragon scorpion that was formed from the aura of intimidation instantly dissipated. In the next moment, the black scorpion's body also broke apart inch by inch, and turned into a wave of soul energy that disappeared. The little black sparrow cried out in alarm, and similarly, a strand of aura of intimidation surged out explosively, and it similarly transformed into a huge black sparrow that blotted out the sky and covered the sun. The black sparrow rolled about within the clouds, and it chased after the sun and the moon as it revealed its ferocious might. Xiaoyan shouted out loudly, his eyes turning slightly red. A layer of faint red color gradually climbed onto the former's chest, but Xiaoyan did not notice it. He stared at the huge black sparrow above the small black sparrow and said with a thunderous voice, "Destroy." As soon as he finished speaking, the imperial emperor, who had stood on the path of eternity, extended a finger and gently twisted it at the gigantic black sparrow. Instantly, the heavens and earth seemed to collapse. The gigantic black sparrow did not even have the time to scream before dissipating like smoke. At the same time that the huge black sparrow dissipated, the small black sparrow also seemed to have suffered a heavy blow. Its body swayed, and in the end, an explosive sound rang out, and the small black sparrow also lost its figure. Xiao Yan looked at the terrified three-tailed white fox with bloodshot eyes. He sneered, and just as he was about to speak, he suddenly felt dizzy in front of him. After that, he weakly fell to the ground. In the sky, the three powerful auras that shook the heavens and earth also disappeared. The moment Xiao Yan fell, the three-tailed white fox let out a sharp cry. Just as it was about to move, its body suddenly shook and turned into a soul force that surged into the forehead of the person behind it. Yi Tianqian landed on the ground and looked at the unconscious Xiao Yan with a strange expression. He couldn't help but suck in the soul force. This fellow had given him too many surprises. At this moment, Xiao Yan's upper body was covered in a crimson color. On his chest, an extremely conspicuous image slowly took shape, and finally condensed into a slightly blurry image. Upon closer inspection, it was like the word, force. As soon as the word, force, took shape, the origin monarchy around Xiao Yan immediately became chaotic. Before the phenomenon could take another turn, Yi Tianqian waved his hand gently. The violent wind that was about to blow up was instantly extinguished. Gently stroking the blurry image on Xiao Yan's chest, Yi Tianqian's eyes revealed an unprecedented seriousness. It was a long time before he muttered, "One of the 8 powers, its power, actually formed on this little guy." Chapter end.